next?
My dream job, but the first thing I ever wanted to be was a fire truck. I I know.
A fire truck?
I was like, you know what? I don't want to ever let someone else have any vote in whether or not I can provide for my family. And so then I started the journey to look for a franchise business. I tell you, you'll sell a kidney to get rid of that thing. When
Yeah.
you hear those claws going across the drywall, like, no, wait a minute.
Today I have Skedaddle franchisee with me, Phil Campbell. Phil, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks so much, Lance. I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you for being here and thank you for sharing your story, which is what you're about to do.
Absolutely.
So, first question, how long have you been a franchisee of Skedaddle?
I, it feels like I've been a franchisee all my life, and then at the same time, just about all week. Then we formed the company in May of last year and started operations in August. So not quite a year yet.
Okay, good. And it's been a good year, obviously. You came on kind of looking exhausted from an incredible week, so that can't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
So, what was your dream job? So, question number two, what was your dream job as an occupation as a kid? What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
Okay, Lance, you gotta promise not to laugh too much. My dream job, but the first thing I ever wanted to be was a fire truck. I I know.
A fire truck?
A fire truck, not a fireman, a fire truck.
Okay, I'm not
I,
laughing.
I right. And then I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I wanted to do all kinds of things. A biomedical engineer, and yeah. So I sort of wanted to do it all.
Right. And then Skedaddle. So, we're going to talk about that. Is Skedaddle your first business?
Yeah, it's my first business, and it's been a ride.
Yeah. Wait, is it Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
Yeah, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah. So I think you said that to me last time when we had
Yeah,
a little pre-call. So
yeah.
we'll see if we could touch on that a little bit. So that was question number three. Is this your first business? Question number four. What were you doing prior to being a franchisee with Skedaddle?
Wow. I never got to be a fire truck, so I became a naval officer. And I was in the Navy for 22 years. I drove ships. I was an intelligence officer. Finished up my career back here in Maryland after living all over the world as in the IT department, and wound up moving into healthcare IT when I retired from the Navy. So that's the business I've been in for the last 7 or 8 years. And actually, I'm still in that industry. I'm the chief technology officer at a health system here in our local area. So I have a very full-time job as well as full-time business owner.
I love it. So technically speaking, you're a part-time or a semi-absentee owner because you're not full-time in the business.
That's right. Yeah. So that's the technical term for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
semi-absentee owner. Although it's certainly I have a general manager who takes care of day-to-day stuff, but the business is certainly something that occupies a lot of my capacity in my brain.
Yeah.
Constantly thinking.
Yeah, and no doubt you're still full-time responsible.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
got it. So question five, why did you get into a franchise and why Skedaddle?
So, Lance, I was working for a telecom company doing healthcare. I was sort of a CIO whisperer. I helped CIOs who needed help with telecom, and the company took a strategic change, and I got laid off along with all my peers. And I was the first time in my life since I was 17 years old that I didn't have a paycheck coming into my bank account. And it was, I mean, scary, obviously, but at the same time, it just kind of made me mad. I was like, you know what? I don't want to ever let someone else have any vote in whether or not I can provide for my family. And so then I started the journey to look for a franchise business.
Awesome. That is wonderful. How did you find Skedaddle specifically?
Well, I worked with a great franchise broker, and he had the patience of Job, going through all the different businesses that could possibly fit, and then he introduced me to Skedaddle. And I had had a squirrel in my attic 10 years ago, in another house. And, I tell you, you'll sell a kidney to get rid of that thing. When
Yeah.
you hear those claws going across the drywall, like, no, wait a minute. So Skedaddle really struck a chord with me in terms of, understanding the business and understanding the value that it brings to its clients. And then as I looked further into the company, wow, what a great group of people to work with.
Yeah. I should have also asked you, why don't you tell the audience, for those that don't know what Skedaddle is, what is Skedaddle?
So we're a humane wildlife control company. So a lot of folks out there, if you have a squirrel in your attic or a raccoon or whatever, they'll come and set traps, and certainly it's a very inexpensive short-term solution. But you haven't solved the problem. The animals can still get back in. The other side of that is 70% of animals that get relocated die because you've taken them away from their territory and away from their food stores and their nests. So we very much want to resolve human animal conflict in a way that's beneficial to both. And so that's what we do. It really resonates with people, especially whenever even the people who are dead set that they want the animal trapped. When you talk them through it and they realize, wait a minute, I'm investing in my home to make it, proof, keep these animals out forever.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that. So yeah,
Yeah. No, and that's what I love about Skedaddle. It's not just taking an animal out,
right,
it's about preventing the animal from getting in
right,
and
right.
fixing the home. So question number 7, what was your all-in investment in Skedaddle, and how many locations or how many territories do you have?
So all in investment up front, I invested 250,000 and I purchased two territories at once when I first started.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. Question 8, why this particular franchise? When you said you were going through the process with the
Mhm.
broker, what really actually sold you on Skedaddle compared to others? I mean, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of home service brands, senior home care. A guy like you can do anything. And thank you for your service, buddy.
Well, thank you for your support. I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't paid me. So, yeah, no, so like I said, Skedaddle connected with me on a personal level because I've been through the experience, and two, um, like I said, the people at Skedaddle are just amazing. And so a lot of the other franchises that I looked at, you felt very much like you were interacting with sort of a corporate presence. With Skedaddle, it's just Barry and Bill and Corey and Julian and Brandon and just everybody, and so it's a really a personable group, and a very sort of simple business model.
Yeah.
A lot of the services that I evaluated were lawn care or the home repair, that sort of thing. They were sort of taking their differentiation in the market was leveraging technology to communicate with the clients and all that sort of thing, and sort of laying a digital layer across the physical work that they were doing, and and just it just didn't appeal to me. But this felt like there was just so much variety in what we do.
Yeah. I love it. Good. Well, no, it sounds like a great culture that
Yeah.
resonated
Oh
with you
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
14%, last I checked, 14% of franchise owners were military. So,
Really?
yeah, big number, right?
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
As a military officer, you get out and you get into the civilian world, and I know a lot of people have operated in this world a lot of time, but you see how things are done. You're like, you know what? I really need to be able to do things the right way.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. No, it's great. And number nine, was size a factor? When you're looking at brands, bigger brands, smaller brand, did that actually matter in the selection process?
Uh, Not really. I didn't. To me, I mean, certainly it would be nice to go buy a brand that everyone already recognized, but at the same time, to me, that means that the market is already probably pretty well saturated
Yeah.
and well established. And yeah, okay. And those big brands, comes with a higher dollar figure.
Yeah. Well, I've had people, it's happened often where they say, I think that brand's too small for me. I'm going to wait. Maybe as they mature in my market, I said, good luck. That brand will be sold out within 6 months, more than likely in your market.
Well, and
So,
that's buy high and sell low. Hold on a
yeah,
minute, you should be going the other way. So yeah.
yeah. So, number 10, what was the hardest part of launching the franchise?
Honestly, the hardest part of launching the franchise was taking the plunge. Was just,
Pulling the
sort of,
trigger in the first place?
yep, just I mean, I'm a military guy. Give me a plan, I'll do it. And so, it was pretty simple, but that commitment and sort of understanding that, I'm committing, quite a lot financially and quite a lot, in sort of time personally. How's my employer going to take this? Or am I going to get in, a lot of hot water for doing this? And, and what if it all just falls flat?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? So, yeah, that was really honestly the hardest part. Everything else was just, grit and determination.
Love it. Number 11, what is the best thing that has resulted so far from you being a Skedaddle franchisee?
The best thing that's happened so far, bar none, has been that I have been able to provide employment, full-time employment for now five folks that work for me, and these guys love their jobs. They really enjoy the work, and that may sound crazy, but they really enjoy the work.
Yeah.
And to me, that is the absolute by far most rewarding part is even if the business just always breaks even and I never get to bank a whole bunch of money, just the knowledge that I've made life better for some folks and launched them on careers that are going to
Yeah.
see them, go really far. To me, it's really rewarding.
Fabulous. Number 12, what are your secrets to success? At least one.
What's made me successful more on the business side as the franchise owner is following the recipe. Doing what the franchise, owners have said, hey, listen, this is what we've done for 30 years. If you do it this way, you're going to be fine. And if you do it differently, you're not.
Yeah.
And so I think that's been really key. But sort of going back to the previous question, I think the other part of it is creating an environment in which my technicians feel like they are part of a team that's pulling together and that's working together. And
Yeah.
I don't micromanage them. I don't. If they need water, take the credit card, go get water. That just let's do the right thing. They are all empowered to do what needs to be done for the client. And I think that is incredibly important to being a successful business owner because that's what sets you apart from a lot of these other companies.
Yeah, teamwork is a huge one, and it's amazing how following the system is such a key ingredient. People want to reinvent the wheel, so I love that. Why are others not as successful as you? And obviously, not following the system is certainly one. So you can't use that answer.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that it's about being willing to take some risk. Uh, Being willing to, I mean, I bought a second van to grow my business before I really had the business, to where I could accommodate a second van, but
Yeah.
I wanted to be in front of growth,
Yeah.
not behind it.
Last thing you want to do is wait for a van when you're absolutely ready, right?
Absolutely, there are some folks who are in that position, and it's sort of hindered their ability to take advantage of some opportunities to grow.
Yeah. Good. Number 14, how much can a great franchisee in Skedaddle do in annual sales per territory, let's say?
Uh, so the numbers are frankly they're staggering. In the first year, it's normal to gross about 600,000. The one of the franchises up in Canada in Toronto, they started I think 6 years ago. They're at $5 million gross now.
Holy cow.
So and Skedaddle, if you look at the FDD, an established Skedaddle franchise that's got everything up and running, is gonna have about a 25 to 30% margin on it. So you do the math.
Fantastic. Yeah. 25. Yeah. That's fantastic. And that goes to the next question, which is number 15. What is a typical net income? So 25%, if you're doing a million a year, you're doing 250,000 net income potentially.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm sure there are franchisees doing, you mentioned Canada. I'm sure there's franchisees in the US doing $1 million a year, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of franchisees in the US yet. But they're adding them all the time.
Right.
The one that's been the longest in Milwaukee, he's I want to say he's well over a million. He's at 2 million. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And obviously during validation, people can hear this and part of the purpose of this series is like a validation from an outside company, me.
yeah,
So is there number 16, is there anything that you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
yeah. I would have taken more risk up front. Um, I I started off with one van. And I was trying to start off with one van and one truck to do the sales, van to do the work. And the truck was delayed in being delivered, and I was hesitant. I was like, I could go out and rent a truck, but it won't be wrapped and it won't be, appropriately branded, and then I have to hire a third person, and and looking back, that was a mistake. I should have just went out and rented a truck, got some stickers, and took off,
Yeah,
because we missed out on some opportunities there for growth. And yeah, so definitely would have done that differently.
that's a great lesson. And now you know.
Yeah.
You'll make it up. You'll be making it up this week, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Number 17. Phil, what's next for you? Are you going to continue to grow Skedaddle? Are you buying more territories? Tell me more about your future plans.
Yeah, so definitely growing. Added a second van, and we're investing some money right now in marketing, and starting to build relationships with humane shelters and that sort of thing. Really, the plan going forward, depending on sort of how the summer works out, is to add the pest control line. So there's four lines to the business: humane wildlife control, Christmas lights, pest control and attic restoration. And I've already done the Christmas lights piece, so I've got that in play. But if I add pest control, I've got the wildlife control. What that does is make me a full service provider, now competitive against other um, uh, providers, so that I can get a contract with like a school system or a federal, here in the Maryland area, a lot of federal installations. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
Sounds great. When you mentioned pest control and rodent control and wildlife, etc., I think of that Christmas Vacation movie with Chevy Chase. We won't rehash that right now.
No.
So, what advice, last question for the day, what advice would you like to share for people interested in business ownership? You've been through quite a bit. You have a great military history, a great history in general. You obviously have a great personality and people love you. So what advice would you like to share?
Um, I would say, if you feel like business ownership is what you need in your life, do it. It's work. There's no two ways about it. It's work. Even as a semi-absentee owner, I'm in the books at night, and I'm ordering supplies on the weekends and all that sort of thing. But I will tell you, honestly, I don't think I've been this happy in a long time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Well, Phil, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing your story and your wisdom.
Well, I'll share my story. A wisdom, I don't know about that, but Lance, I'm happy always to talk. And certainly if there's anybody out there who's interested in Skedaddle or interested in business ownership in general, I'm more than happy to help anyone out. Not a problem.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.